Well, good morning, good afternoon to everyone. Welcome to our Onsite Insights Live. We are starting a brand new series, which is awesome. And of course, as always, you have myself, Jennifer Carter, the Director of Client Performance, and my co-host, Leah Nicole Smith, the VP of Education and Performance.
Hello, everyone. Welcome and happy Thursday.
Yes. All right. And as I mentioned, this is a brand new series to kind of close out 2020. And we are all about the pandemic predictions. So we are going to share with you lots of different information that we have gathered and learned during this pandemic. And part one, which is today, is comfort crushers. So I'm sure you all can probably relate to this photo right here. We've got some noisy neighbors and some folks that are just wanting to enjoy their wine.
Right. Enjoy their wine in peace.
Right. So if you haven't been on one of our calls before, some things to note. We're going to give you all the great information in just 30 minutes. And then, of course, look out for our follow-up email. It will include the recording and the slides. So you will get both. You can review that and, of course, forward that to anybody else who wasn't able to join us today. And as Leah mentioned, we do have our live Q&A. And it is open. So again, that's that information right there. And you can pop in your questions that you have already or wait till the end. It's up to you. And then, of course, you'll want to make sure in the follow-up email you sign up for next month's session. Well, of course, we cannot do these free webinars for everyone without our sponsors. So quick shout out to SphereX for them being a great partner and helping us be able to offer these webinars for free for all of you.
Yeah, so we'll take a look at a quick video from SphereX. There we go. Once again, thanks so much to SphereX. I'm going to swap this back over if it will allow me to. Let's try this again. Here we go. Oh, perfect. Okay, so let's start out with some data. Again, if you're just now logging in, we're going to be doing a live Q&A at the end of the session. You can go to menti.com, type in the code that you see, and you'll be able to ask us questions. So quick stats. Everything we do, you guys know, is rooted in data because that really does help kind of make things very clear for kind of what residents are going through right now. So we're going to share with you some never before heard information from round 6 of our national our COVID-19 national renter study. When we asked those that are working from home, which of the following has been most challenging, here's the top 3. Number 1, maintaining a normal workday schedule. And I don't know if any of you out there had to transition to working from home. You might be in that 40%. I know when I first started working from home way back when, that was probably the toughest for me. Number 2 is no dedicated workspace. And Jennifer's going to give you some great tips on how you can help residents kind of carve out a nice little space to work from home. And number 3, surrounding neighbors. Yeah, we're all, any apartment community, I'm sure you guys are finding that your residents, their complaints about noise, their complaints about each other have probably increased over the past 7 months. So we have some tips for you on that as well. Some other things that are interesting that's coming out of our study, we asked those that are working from home, how long do you expect to be working from home. Look at the bottom. Let's start from the bottom. The first round was in April. It was at 66.3%. And, people didn't quite know what was going on. It was like, maybe I'll be home for a couple months, or, I'll get to go back, in 3 months or so. Well, check out where we are in September. 86% of those that are currently working from home say they have no idea when they are going to be able to return back to that sort of normal work environment or traditional work environment. So you have a much larger amount of people in that unknown group. You have these renters who are struggling when it comes to working from home, whether that's space, neighbors, having a set work schedule or maintaining a normal work schedule. So this really does have an impact on their experience as a renter, as a whole. What is my life like now, because I'm having to deal with all of this other stuff as well. So it's not surprising that we're finding that residents right now are not very likely to renew their lease. When we ask the residents, why didn't you answer very likely to renew? Check out the top 10. 8 out of the top 10 can be described as comfort crushers. These are things that are really impacting their ability to have an exceptional living experience. My apartment home, the office, the management decisions, the overall quality of the community, neighbors, the community appearance, pests and bugs in their apartments, and then safety and security. What's very interesting, and we see this client wide, rental increase is always in the top three. Always. I've never seen it in my 9 years here not in the top three. But look at the difference between those who are saying rental increase versus those who have cited can't afford. Can't afford is number 10 out of 16. So residents, those that can afford to renew, they can't afford to stay, they're considering other factors. And the factors that they are considering are those things that make their lives either comfortable or uncomfortable.
All right. So, with that, as we mentioned, work from home, or I love this one, school from home.
Yeah, some
um,
tips, right?
some tips, yes. So, this is really interesting. One, you can do the tip of the week for residents. I think this is amazing. It's great information for the residents. And if you look at this, there's like I don't know, amazingly number of results when you Google and work from home tips for first timers. So, if you're looking for something to provide to the residents in regards to a tip on how to help ease that comfort of having to work from home and that balance, this is a great place to start there. Also, help residents discover their homes can actually work for them. A lot of residents have been living in a place that prior to COVID, they hadn't had to work from home. And now they've kind of had to readjust. And so trying to help them discover that their layout can really be a place where they can actually work from, whether that's a specific designated place, trying to find that line where they can kind of separate their apartment home versus where they're quote unquote working from home in that space. And lastly, offer renewal or referral gifts that can ease the work from home challenge. So some things that first thing come to mind is I'm a big fan of noise cancellation earphones, especially when folks are on conference calls and things like that. So that might be something that you can look into. You want to steer away from the money as a renewal gift, but if there's something else that you are able to provide to that resident, that would be something that could be helpful for them for easing that comfort from working from home.
Yeah, and I think a lot of residents right now would be open to the
Yeah.
fact that you're doing a renewal gift or a referral gift as opposed to a concession. Because as we saw, you have, rental increase number one, can't afford number 10, but the majority of those reasons have a lot to do with, how they're able to live at your community. I love the noise canceling headset, by the way, Jennifer. I don't think
Oh,
you've mentioned that before. I love that
That's like
idea.
my favorite. I just, they're pretty inexpensive too, which is great. So this is a really cool item as well, a renewal gift or referral gift idea. And again, there's 33 ways to use this. I've seen this actually in somebody I follow on Instagram as well, and it's really something where it can be multi-use. It doesn't take up a lot of space. It can be a table, it turns into a table, can be a workspace. So there's really creative ways that you can offer a gift to a resident when it comes to renewal time and it not be that dollar value. So as we have our questions box open, if you have something creative that's worked, love for you to share it. We would love to be able to kind of pass those ideas, on to other folks that are on the call as well.
Yeah, and Jennifer, I think this table, isn't it like $150? It's pretty cheap.
Yes. Yes, when you think about that versus like how much money you would end up giving off, rent. I mean, and to have this be in my home and something I can actually use and be comfortable in my home with, I think it's a really great idea.
Yeah, this could actually work for a move-in gift too. If you have a
Yes.
smaller one bedroom, or something like that, that might or if you have multiple people in a home and you know that they'll be, working and schooling from home, something like that could be really helpful.
Yeah, Pinterest can always be your best friend, right? Too, to help you kind of give the some ideas or some tips to the residents on a weekly basis. Maybe there's some tips if you're in a one bedroom, tips if you're in a two bedroom, tips if you're in a three bedroom. If you have this layout, here's something that we've seen some other residents try that may work for you as well. So maybe kind of collaborate with your current residents if they have a great setup already.
Yeah, I think that would be helpful. So we know that neighbors and noise is a big thing. Here's what's different now than pre-COVID. Pre-COVID, you had residents that would leave their homes at, 7 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock, and wouldn't return until 6 o'clock at night. So they were not aware of kind of the goings on throughout the day. You also, pre-COVID, had younger residents who would be off to school for the majority of the day, and then they would come, in the afternoon. Well, now we are seeing everyone is home together. You have a lot more happening. You have younger residents who would be able to go out and run around the, school for recess. And instead of running around the school, they're running around your community. You would have, residents who, typically wouldn't be out on their patio playing music throughout the day. So we know that this has become a major issue for management teams, and we get it. We totally understand. My neighborhood has gotten much louder since COVID has hit, so we want to help however we can. One of the big issues when you have residents with neighbor concerns, they automatically kind of go the route of this place is not as safe as it was before, because they're just seeing new people, different people, people that live at the community, but they just never interacted with before. So providing any kind of tips for your residents about what to do when there are loud, parties on the weekend, what to do when someone is, violating your noise ordinance, or, you have quiet hours at your community, making sure that residents are aware that there are quiet hours if that is the case. Some people don't know because they're just, they just haven't been around to experience that. If those noise complaints are brought to your attention, you definitely want to listen and validate the concerns. We see a lot of reviews where the reviewer will speak about noise, and the response from the management was kind of like, well, that's apartment living. That's really a tough pill to swallow when you're just like, well, it's, you're going to hear that because you're living in an apartment. The more that renters hear those kind of responses, the more they're going to think about not living in an apartment. Well, if this is what apartment living is, maybe it's not for me and I need to kind of look elsewhere. So you want to validate those concerns, and whatever you all were doing prior to COVID in terms of the procedures that you follow for neighbors and noise type of issues, all of that holds true now. You really don't have to do anything different. Your documentation, get your regional, your supervisors involved if needed. If it needs to be escalated, the follow up is going to be really important to make sure that all parties are, kind of understanding, they're okay, and, going forward, it's not going to be an issue. But I don't think just because of COVID, and Jennifer, feel free to jump in, but I don't think that just because of COVID, you guys have to do anything different.
No, I don't think so either. I think it's really about communicating, as you mentioned, and hearing from the residents and validating, as you mentioned too.
Yeah, absolutely. And you want to be very mindful of how
Mm.
that information is communicated. It's beforehand, we're probably like, listen up, people. Here are here's our policy regarding, loud music on the weekend, or,
Section
you know,
4,
yeah, or maybe
paragraph A.
the notice that went out was, a little bit more corporate, if you will, a little bit more, stern, but we're all going through a lot. So you want to be very mindful of the kind of messaging. We have an example from one of our clients, Legend Management Group. This is what they posted on every one of their communities. Social media. And it just says, as more people are required to stay home, we know that our apartments will be more active than usual. Please be mindful of your neighbors on a daily basis. So this is a great way to say, keep it down, or, be mindful of the noise without kind of coming off as, very harsh or cold or stern. We want to, again, just kind of be very thoughtful in how those kinds of things are communicated, because everybody's a little bit on edge. A lot of people are on edge right now because we're just frustrated. Lots happening right now.
Absolutely. So creating a sense of community. So this is definitely a big one that we want to kind of give you some tips on to still create that sense of community. So number one, what we have for you here is the two C's, I like to call it. C squared, communication and connection. You need these two really. You can't have one without the other in order to get that sense of community for the resident to feel that sense of community. So communicating with them on a, more often than not basis, I don't want to say every day, but more often than not is going to be key so that they don't feel lost. They already are probably feeling a little, isolated, or, they can't do the things that they normally would be doing, depending, on where they live and how they feel. So really communicating, things that are happening at the property, from procedures to, events, and then connecting with them, still knowing that you know something about them. I mean, even if it's still their birthday, if their dog had surgery, maybe you send them a little dog bones and some flowers or something, but try to stay connected and communicative with the residents. This one's a great one. And I know some people are really moving to the video aspect, but share the info and updates via video. There is nothing like seeing somebody with our own eyes to be able to connect and feel connected with that person. There's just something about that video. It's like when that person walks in to tour your apartment home, you see them and you feel a connection with them. When you're on the phone, you don't have that as much. So use video to share updates, to the residents and information that's happening at the community.
Yeah, I think a great idea would be for managers to do like a manager's minute. There's a lot that you can do with 60 seconds. And it's just, filming the manager, talking to the residents. If there's an update, you share an update. If there's nothing to really communicate, then you talk about your residents, that um, might be something that, here's different ways you can reach us, or, we just want to let you guys know that, we're here, that kind of stuff. As to Jennifer's point, that connection is huge in making sure that residents feel like this is still home for them. And I think sense of community, if there's a heightened sense of community, you can get your residents to kind of reason away some of these comfort crushers. Yeah, I get that the neighbor thing can be kind of annoying, but I know the management team is doing everything that they possibly can be doing.
Absolutely. I think there's always something to your point, even on a weekly basis to share, whether that's, about maintenance, whether that's about what's happening at the community. Just there's could be, like you said, 60 seconds really you can kind of put a lot into that. So that's a great idea. I love this to be visible. So even if your office is closed or has limited hours, residents still want to know that you're around. They still want to know that you are available to them. So whatever that looks like, are you emailing back right away? Are you calling them back right away? Are you answering the phone when they, still try to reach out to you with a question, concern, whether it's about rent or maintenance or just a general question? Are you to them visible even if you're physically not in the office?
Yeah, I think this is where a virtual event would work, or a contest on social. They don't necessarily need to see you working to know that you are working. They see activity coming from the management team that equates to visibility.
I love this one. Surprise resident appreciation. There is nothing better than feeling warm and fuzzy that people appreciate you, when you get a surprise. I mean, I think we all can relate, especially on site when a manager or a regional or your executive team kind of, probably sends something to you as a surprise appreciation. I think residents are the same way. If we can surprise residents with appreciation, whether that's like a little cookie basket or, a little bit of flowers or, I've seen a lot of creative things happen even from the dollar store. So there's definitely ways to kind of keep that even budget friendly, but a surprise resident appreciation goes a long way and they feel that they are connected and part of the community, and they're really part of, let's say, like a family, right? They're included and cared about.
Yeah, I think when we do resident events, like let's say you're having a paint, a virtual paint night. If you announce it, and I know this is what's happening, I immediately decide right then and there if I want to participate. Yeah, that sounds great, or no, that's really not for me. But if you let your residents know, hey, you guys, we have a surprise event happening on Friday over by the, tennis court, or over by the tot lot or whatnot. And it could just be a food truck that you all had, have gotten to show up. But residents don't know what it's going to be, and that creates sort of like a little bit of mystery, and they want to check it out. So having those kind of surprise things, that they're just not expecting, again, takes kind of the normal event to sort of a different, level. You're doing it in a different way.
And then this is a big one, of course. We're huge fans of encouraging and appreciate feedback. So encourage to get the feedback from residents, but not only encourage it, but appreciate them. So send out information, whether that's in the video updates or in emails or text messages, that you appreciate the feedback. Call them, let them know you appreciate it, even if it's a positive one, or neutral or negative. No matter what that feedback is, just appreciate the fact that they are taking the time to share their thoughts with you. So this is a great response that mentions the review. So as you see here, the review is an overall great service from the leasing staff, and I love this because it's specifically about COVID. They have been responsive during the COVID-19 pandemic. They've been also responsive to those service requests, update and repair items in the apartment. So great all-around service, which again speaks volumes for um, not only for the how well the team's doing, but even for folks that are out there looking for an apartment home, says, wow, the staff really takes care of their residents and creates that sense of community there. So again, the response here is great. With more people at home from the pandemic, we are happy to be able to help a little bit. We love helping our residents and are gratified that you found our service to be great all around. Thank you for your comments. What a wonderful response to a great review. I mean, I can't say anything more than that. It's really well thought of and put
Yeah,
together.
that's textbook for sure. So we are
Absolutely.
going to open up Q&A. Again, if you all would like to participate, if you have questions, if you have ideas that you want to share
Yes.
on things that you all have done to kind of make sure your residents are as comfortable as possible in their homes, feel free to chime in. You can go to menti.com, type in that code that you see, 6908251, and we are going to show the questions on the screen. We're going to be answering them as well. So Jennifer, you want to go ahead and handle the key takeaways before we move on over to the Q&A?
Absolutely. We'll let those come in first here. So the key takeaways, prospects are seeking comfort. So again, you mentioned in the very beginning, Lee, if they don't have that comfort, they are going to go and seek a new home to see if they can find what that comfort that they're looking for, and they can obtain that at a new apartment home. And residents are paying for the comfort. They're willing to pay for the comfort. So really focusing on making sure the residents are have a happy, exciting story to share from their experience. And then I love this. Management is responsible for ensuring the comfort. It really is the management's job to do that. So whether that's the noise aspect, creating that sense of community, making sure that the appliances in the resident's home are able to be used, right? Because they are home more often. So are they able to have the comfort and use of their amenities in their home at all times? And then I love this too. There's a great stat. 8 out of 10 renewal drivers are based on comfort. So really thinking about that as well as those drivers that we talked about, it really comes down to making sure the resident is 100% comfortable in their home, about the community, about the staff, like just overall, all of those pieces are, they're feeling great about it.
Absolutely. All right, Jennifer. So
Oh,
we're opening up the Q&A. Let's take a look.
and we don't know what these are, so we're
I
going to go
know.
jump right in.
How do you handle residents who want a concession on rent for noise issues? I think this is kind of the go-to. When appliances
Yes.
break down, when there is a problem with a neighbor, that is the main go-to for residents. They want money off of their rent. Well, what are you going to do? What are you going to do about it? The best thing that you guys can do in terms of residents who want concessions for things that are making them uncomfortable is go back to fair housing. Go back to that and just say, if I offer you anything off of your rent because of the noise that you're experiencing, I'm going to have to do that, or I'm going to have to be able to do that for every resident who is in that same situation. And unfortunately, we're just not able to accommodate those, types of requests. I used to always go back. They want to waive a late fee. They want anything that, kind of makes things better for them. That opens it up to where we have to do the same for every resident at the community. Best thing you can do is just continue to let residents know how you handle those types of noise complaints. Try to be as involved as you can. There are going to be some residents where you can't resolve every noise complaint, but you definitely don't want to offer any kind of a discount at all for for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say too, hopefully communicating prior to leading up to maybe such question about wanting a concession, right, is to kind of hopefully kind of beat the resident, so to say, to this question, is making sure you're in connection and connected to them, and hearing what their concerns are, so they don't feel like they have to ask for a concession on their rent.
Yeah, true. Very true. Jennifer, I'm going to have you take this one.
Yeah, any tips or suggestions for relaying expectations of or what normal noise is? I love the word normal these days.
I know.
What is normal these days? Um, I think I would probably lean towards, you mentioned a little bit too, Leah, about noise ordinances, right? If you have a time, uh, what's what I'm looking for?
Quiet
Like a
hours.
cutoff, quiet hours. Thank you. Yes. So I think I would probably lean towards that way. Um, just to kind of have something standard or a policy, so you're not kind of saying, well, if I respond to this person with, oh, well, baby crying is normal, but playing drums is not normal. Like you want to kind of steer away from those kinds of things and maybe stick more with, times or policies more per se. What would you say?
Yeah, I think so too. And I think to your point, what you mentioned about the noise canceling headsets,
Yeah.
that would make a great tip of the week. Things like, we just had Prime Day with Amazon,
Yeah,
but
I was
you
gonna say
have
that.
Black
Yeah.
Friday coming up. You have like all these deals and sales. If you all find, you come across a deal at Walmart.com or Target.com for like noise canceling headsets, put that as a post, on your social, in case anyone, wants to check this out, look at this great deal. It's not saying that you're admitting that your apartment is noisy or, that you can hear your neighbors. What you're doing is you're, again, trying to find ways to make residents comfortable in their home.
Absolutely.
Okay, I think everyone on the call is gonna. We probably have had neighbors that try to handle these issues amongst themselves, and they don't necessarily go very well. So when I think this is the opportunity to encourage residents to contact the office. Let us help. Let us try to mediate. Let us kind of do our jobs. In the situation instead of leaving those nasty notes. I know you guys have probably seen them on online of neighbors leaving each other not so nice notes and things like that. They really should report them to you, and you want to go about it in terms of we want to document. We want to be able to document things that are happening at the community so that we can again track over time. Is this continuously a problem? Was it resolved? That documentation piece is going to be key should anything kind of escalate. We definitely don't want to see that, but
I would say too,
never.
the other thing too.
Oh,
Oh,
go
go
ahead,
ahead.
Jennifer.
I was just going to say a point on that is also we mentioned to have a way for residents to leave feedback. So maybe if it's whether it's through a survey or an anonymous email might be also a good idea because maybe residents don't always want to come forward and directly talk to you. But if there's a way that they can still leave the feedback, through a survey program, like ours, or even if we've talked about before, like anonymous emails might be a way too.
Yeah, absolutely. How often should you do events? We do them at least once a month, but we're struggling building a sense of community. That's a good question. The thing about sense of community is that it has very little to do with the actual events. Your residents will participate in the events if they feel that they belong. So that's really what sense of community is. Do I feel like I belong here at this community? Do I feel a part of this community? And as Jennifer mentioned during the when we were given the information, sense of community is that connection and communication. Do I feel like I know enough what's going on? Do I feel like they want me to know what's going on because they see me as someone who's really important? So if your residents feel like they belong, they tend to participate in the events that matter to them. Not everybody's going to participate in every event that you do, but this is again where feedback can be really helpful. Have your residents vote. Say, hey, you guys, we're thinking about these 3 events for November. Which would you like? Put it to a vote. That way you can gauge interest, you can gauge kind of engagement, and then those residents who actually voted for that thing, they tend to come out and participate because they've already told you you, this is what, we want to see. I think right now in the midst of the pandemic, something should be going on at your community every week. Not
Yeah, that was going to
necessarily,
be.
not like a big, to do every week. You can do one resident event, and then you can do like contests, or you can do like, a photo or balcony contest, something little, but one major thing, one major event, and then something throughout the week. Just to kind of keep residents like knowing, again, that you're visible. They see you, you're doing something. You're not just kind of popping out for one event and then kind of going back into your closed office.
Yeah, I think the other thing too, real quick on that, is if you have like a portal, or if you're doing it on even Facebook, have people RSVP. That's a big thing now in anything we do, right? Especially with COVID, you have to kind of RSVP, or get your slot, or pick your slot. It just helps also people feel like they're committed, so that they will actually show up for the event.
Yeah, that's a great one. So some people are chiming in with what they've been doing. Pascal says
Oh, hey,
wireless
Pascal.
printers work really well in terms of renewal, referral, moving gifts, I'm assuming. We have someone who says that they like the IKEA table idea. I need to get that table,
Awesome.
honestly.
Right?
Yeah. Here's one. We had a band play at the pond, and residents were able to sit on their patios or balconies. They were able to enjoy from the comfort of their home. I love
Love
that.
that.
And you have to think too, a lot of local bands, they've missed out on gigs, they've missed out on weddings, they've missed out on a lot of opportunities to, financial opportunities in, the last 7 months or so. So this is a great way to kind of partner with some of them, and, they can still play, they can, help them out financially, and you help residents to, be able to just have something different going on. I love that. Great idea. Here's one that's specific to Seattle. Let's see. Since Seattle can't issue 10 legal notices, how would you handle situations that pertain to noise? It's becoming a much bigger issue now than before. Yeah, this is one of those things where if you're in a market where you don't have a lot of power, right? You can't find residents. You can't, you can't non-renew. There's just kind of things that you can't do. You want to focus on the things that you can. It goes back to educating your residents, really building a sense of community so that your residents feel comfortable telling you what's going on. They also feel comfortable enough to look out for each other. When there's a very strong sense of community, they make it a point to look out for each other, and not just, making sure I'm doing okay. Um, Focus on the things that are within your control, things that you can that you are, responsible for, and really kind of, make that be your primary focus. Communication, education, and connection. Those would be the things that, I would say for the markets that where you don't have a lot of like, power to really make people pay attention to things like being quiet at the community. Jennifer, anything?
No, I think that's a great one. I think that's you got to focus on what you can do, instead of what you can't do. So that's a good one.
Okay, I'm going
We
to
got a
give
couple
you
more
this
questions
one.
coming in.
Yeah, I'm going to scroll down too. This one's
Okay.
for you though, while I scroll down.
Sure. What are some ways to still connect with residents during COVID when there's little opportunity to be face to face? Well, there is a ton of opportunity out there. I think we just need to be able to be creative. We do have some quick 15-minute videos that we've put together. We can give and leave you with a follow up. But there's anything from like food trucks to I've seen. Maybe it's dropping a small pumpkin off at people's right now for the holidays, off at their door, and having them decorate, and then you can vote and having them put that on social media. You could even have them carve maybe live on like a Zoom call. So if you have some creative ways, I guess I'll throw that out to the group that you have done. Love to share those as well, I guess, with everyone else on the call.
Okay, we have some great gifts and events. So for
Ooh,
the gift,
I
a
like that.
wireless mouse or a keyboard plug-in,
Hmm.
Yes, because mine is broken right now. I would love that. I would absolutely love that. They're doing October tacos on the go and door decorating contest for Halloween. Nice. We have, ooh, this is
Mm,
breakfast tacos on the go. I bet
making me
you two
hungry.
might be in Texas. Breakfast tacos on the go. It's a huge hit and they appreciate it a lot. Nice. Okay, I'm going to do the ideas and then we're going to get back to the questions just so we kind of keep everything all in one. Succulent event. COVID sucks.
Oh, ah,
Nice. Can
okay, that's good.
posted that, can you email us a photo? We'd love to be able to use it in one of our sessions. A photo of or even the flyer, anything that you guys have. I love that. Every resident received one. It was such a fun event to brighten their day in their work from home space.
Oh, wow. That's a great, that's like two, three, four birds with one stone. I love that.
That is probably one of the most original ideas I have seen so far. Love it.
I love
Food
that.
truck bonanza. Ooh, nice. Monday through Friday
Woo!
for lunch and dinner since July. Can you
I think I'm gonna
sign
live
me
there.
up? Wow. Monday through Friday.
I
Nice.
love that.
Giving out candy bags the last week of this month so that we can still see everyone. Oh, that's fantastic. That's
That's
neat.
awesome.
Yeah, that's really neat. You do even do like a Halloween parade through the community with all the costumes. Uh, ooh, Jennifer, this is your question. You're our
Oh,
social media queen, so you take this
all right.
one.
How do you get your residents to follow your social channels, and what are posting but unsure if our residents are we are posting, I apologize. We are posting but unsure if our residents are following us. Stalk them. No, I'm just kidding. So what I'll recommend is it's something that you're doing continuously. You can say you can start off as a prospect. You can start off when they move in. You can give them in an email. Maybe it's the bottom of your email with your, little hyperlinks. You could have it on your portal maybe once a month to share and say, hey, if you haven't done so, please make sure you follow us. We do contests. We do resident spotlights. We always share updates with what's going on. I think if you give the residents a reason to follow you and then continuously do that, then they're apt to follow you more. If they don't know why they should follow you, then it's like, well, what's the point of that? Maybe share local things that are going on that might be still beneficial for them in the or surrounding the community. Um, Follow-up emails is probably another good way. As you saw in the very beginning, we kind of just put it on our beginning slide, so hopefully you'll follow us as well. So anywhere you can kind of just keep it fresh in their mind, I think is a great way. It could be on your leasing doors. Um, if you still collect packages, maybe you could put a sticker on that, depending on your situation. Am I missing maybe any ideas, Leah?
Yeah, I think another good thing, and this is something that we do, is that every day on social is dedicated to something specific. So if you have the tip of the week on Monday, if you have the maintenance reminder on Tuesday, like if you have a contest on Wednesday, if you have a consistent schedule, you'll have people that will consistently go to your page that are interested in those kinds of things. When it's just kind of random that one time you post about a contest and then a few days later you post about being good neighbors or whatnot, when it's just kind of random, there's no flow. And when there isn't a flow, like social media is all about the story, right? It's all about what's happening. So if I know what's going on any given day at the community, you're going to spotlight a resident on Friday, you're going to show off one of your furry residents, your pet residents on Wednesday, something like that. That's where you start to get more of a following. um and don't worry if you don't get likes, if you don't get comments, if the number of followers are not going up. Your residents are looking. Whether you can quantify it or not, you have a captive audience right now. Now's the perfect time to really make those big changes when it comes to social media, when it comes to the kind of content that you post, because they have the time. They're
Yes, they're
home
sitting
now.
there
They're
scrolling through.
yeah, they're scrolling through. So making sure that that content is more about entertainment and celebration. That's probably what people need right now instead
Yeah,
of.
I was
Oh, go ahead, Jennifer.
Oh, no, I was just gonna say to your point with that is that you have to make it like you're saying what's in it for them, because social in general is if they don't want to go to your page and look to see what's in it for them, then how social works is that they're just going to disappear from their timeline. So you want to make it so that they're interested to go to your page, and that is really about celebrating the resident.
Yeah, absolutely. Ooh, bath bombs, because
Ooh.
our residents are the
Oh.
bomb.
And
Nice.
that makes me feel very comfortable in my home.
Yes, that would make me feel very comfortable. Oh, thanks, Pascal. He's the one who has
Oh,
the
succulents.
sucks events. Here we go. I've had resident events, but don't get a lot of participation. How do you get them to engage? Yeah, let them start suggesting the events. Put it to a vote. We do that a lot with our sessions. We always ask you guys to give us your ideas for future topics. And a lot of what you all have suggested has turned into these sessions. If you get that input from your residents, I think too, after your event, make a big deal on social, even if only 5 people show up. We're going to really talk about it like, there was 50 people, the great time everyone had, show video of the event, do a follow-up so that those that did not show up could see kind of what they missed out on. And then maybe next time they'll be a little bit more inclined. Another thing that works well for events is that if you target interests, target things that people are interested in. Um, any of you who have pools that are closed right now, we always talk about the doggy dips, where you can let your dogs come out and swim in the pool since residents aren't able to use the pool. You get a lot of dog owners that'll come and, of course, socially distance. You can do this by appointment as well, but, they'll bring their dogs out and get to meet other residents who have dogs. If you have a book club, those things are always helpful too for residents who like that. If you have an event that targets your elementary school residents, or those residents who are in high school, or even those who are in college, if you make kind of targeted events that are specific to groups of residents, not saying that those are the only people who can participate, but you tend to get more engagement that way as well, instead of like one big generic event. Jennifer, anything to add for that one?
No, but I definitely think that's the way to go is letting them suggest. Maybe you ask for a whole bunch of ideas and then, the top three, we'll start with the top three that are voted and try those out.
All right, I think that's it for the questions. I'm going to scroll. Yeah, that's it. So take it away, Jennifer.
Yes. All right. Well, thanks everyone. Love the ideas. Love the questions. Hopefully they were helpful for you. We'll stay tuned to part two because that's going to be feet. I can't say this one. Feedback facelift, and that is going to be all about reviews. So again, we're taking our 2021 strategies, are giving you 2021 strategies from lessons learned during this pandemic. So stay tuned for part two, and then of course make sure you kind of mark your calendar for part three, all about resident relations. And of course, when we close out this survey, we'd love you to rate the session, leave your comments. And as we said to do for your residents, we love to hear what you would like to have for future topics.
Absolutely. So thanks again for joining us, everyone. Have a fantastic rest of your day. And we will be in touch shortly with our follow-up email. Take care,
See you
everyone.
next month. Bye.